How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Good.
Okay, I guess.
You guess or?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, last time we met, we worked on some meditation and relaxation exercises, and you said you were going to try and do those every evening before you went to bed, and then make notes of how you felt the next morning and how well you slept. How do you think that went?
The first couple nights it was a little difficult. I don't know. I guess I wasn't like concentrating as much as I probably should have been. But as the week progressed, it started to get a lot easier, and I felt a lot more rested towards the end of the weeks. And I actually noticed that I stopped getting coffee in the mornings, like those last couple days that I was getting enough sleep. So I think that helped too, because then it didn't cause me to like crash at the middle of the day. So I felt a lot more rested. So that really helped later on in the week. First couple days were a little tough, but other than that, it was going pretty well. So
That's good to hear. I know you mentioned that you had a test towards the end of this week. Do you think that those exercises helped you prepare more and be more well rested for your exam?
yeah, definitely. I was actually able to wake up a little bit earlier, like the day of the test, and study more. And for some reason, it's easier for me to study like right before the test, at least to get some like recollection of everything I learned a couple days before that. So it helped a lot because I was able to get up a little bit earlier and give myself enough time, so I didn't feel like I was cramming or making myself more stressed out. So it helped a lot.
I'm glad that it helped. I know in our last session we discussed going over how those exercises worked for you, and if they went well, we were going to proceed by talking about some more exercises you can do that will continue on that. So I know last time we talked about just doing them right before you go to bed, but do you think that adding them on an hour or two before you go to bed with the meditation and then doing the relaxation exercise before you go to bed, do you think you would feel prepared to start doing that for this next week?
Yeah, I think I would be able to do that.
Okay. And do you feel comfortable and ready? Since I know we discussed how the procedure with that would be last time, but do you want to go over that any further, or do you feel comfortable with what we discussed in the notes I gave you?
I think I feel comfortable with them.
All right. Okay. So you said when we talked about how last week went, you said you felt you progressed over the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They just got easier. Like I was able to concentrate more on them. It was hard at first, but then they were getting a little bit easier as the days went on. So.
I know in the previous meeting you were talking about how you've been having some tension in your back and shoulders, and how you felt that maybe these exercises would help. Do you feel like that was the case?
Yeah, it was a lot easier for my body to just kind of just let go of all of that tension, and I actually noticed my back is a lot less sore, and my shoulders don't really fall forward as much as they did. Now I just kind of feel more relaxed, and so yeah, they seem to help a lot. So
That's good. And then we also talked about rating yourself on the scale that we've been using for every session, with 1 being not stressed at all, and 10 being so stressed that you feel like you're going to have a panic attack, like you said you had one prior to coming in to meet with me. Where do you think you would rank yourself? I know last week you ranked yourself at about a 6. So where do you think you would rank this week?
I would probably say I'm at about a 4, 3 or 4, depending on the day. Some days are a little harder than others, but like the day before the test, I was probably at 4 to 5, but then other days it's more of like a 3 to 4.
That's a big difference from just 1 week.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've made a lot of positive progress since our last meeting.
seems to be getting a lot easier. So.
I know we spoke a couple weeks ago about an exam you had, and you felt that you didn't do as well on that, based on what I remember.
I know that I've kind of had a habit of when a test is coming up, I tend to go out with my friends, and then I find myself consuming alcohol to try and forget about the stress, and then I don't get to study as much, and I'd rather be out with my friends trying to relieve my stress that way instead of being at home by myself, because then the stress gets worse.
I know that you mentioned in the past when you've had very stressful events, you tend to avoid them. Do you think that going out with your friends is maybe one of those things that you've used to avoid studying?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. It just, for some reason, that was the only way I knew how to cope with it before I came here. So that's just kind of how I handled situations before.
What is something that you feel went really well this week?
I would say the way I took my test, actually. I noticed that when I sat down to take the test, I didn't feel as unprepared as normal, and I actually breezed through the test pretty quick. I was probably one of the first ones done, so I wasn't as stressed out. Normally when I would read the questions, I would second guess my answers all the time, but since I was able to actually function while studying and be able to have enough sleep on top of it, was a lot easier for me to take the test. So I think that's probably one of the things that went the best this week, because I actually ended up getting an A on the test. So it was a huge relief, because I've maybe gotten an A on probably a handful of tests before. So I feel like if I continue to do all of these things that you're helping me learn to do, I think that that'll really help me with my finals and probably really raise my GPA. So I'm really hoping for that. So.
Yeah, that is a really positive and wonderful accomplishment. I'm sure you feel pretty proud about that.
Yeah.
Do you see a big difference between this exam and the last one?
Yeah.
It seems like, from what you're saying, you feel a lot more confident now that you've looked at the differences between these exams and the changes you've made. And I know you've made a point of, we set some goals about how many nights a week you're going to go out. And do you think that has really made a difference?
Yeah, most definitely. I find it a lot easier for me to do my relaxation techniques before bed the night before an exam when I don't consume alcohol. And when I do consume alcohol and I try to sleep afterwards, I don't get as well of a night's sleep. And then it makes me want to sleep in more instead of actually getting up and studying. Instead, I decide to sleep until the very last minute I need to get up and get to an exam, so I don't really get time to look at the material before, because I'm always late. So I think that there's a huge difference between this test and the last one.
I'm glad you feel more positive about this exam. I know we talked about setting goals for only going out a certain number of nights a week, because I remember you mentioning that even when you would go out with your friends a lot before that exam, you still weren't fully present with them because you were distracted thinking about the exam the next day. And in discussing that, I know we talked about setting aside time to make sure you study, but then also setting aside healthy, fun times to spend with your friends so you can have quality time with them. Do you think that, how do you think that's gone over this past couple weeks?
I think it's gone pretty well. My friends don't really agree with it as much as I do, but I don't really think they understand the pressure I'm under, because none of them stuck through school. So other than that, I think it's gone a lot better. Sometimes I get a little bit of anxiety about it because I don't want to upset my friends. But I know that school needs to come first, and I need to make sure that I'm focusing on myself and the things I need to do for me before I try to impress them and, do all the things they want me to do. So
Seems like even though this has been a difficult decision that you've had to make, it seems to really be benefiting you from what you've told me.
yeah, it is.
Do you think we should cut that there and then I don't know. Did that
Action. Day 500.
that escalated.
It is 9:34. We have been here for 4.5 hours.
It feels good. Feels right.
Had our Jimmy Johns. We're bouncing back.
We got this.
She's lying.
How does that make you feel? So, how does that make you feel?
I'm just really upset about it, and I just can't seem to get it out of my mind ever, and I can't sleep, and
It seems kind of weird that you can't stop thinking about how anxious you are. I mean, can't you see that that's making you more anxious?
yeah, I guess so. I just can't. It's hard for me to stop. I don't know.
Oh,
how to
hold on a
balance it.
second. Hello? Oh, yeah. Remember that patient I was telling you about? The one with all the anxiety? Yeah, I'm with her right now. No, I can talk. It's fine. It's no big deal.
Can we, get back to talking?
Excuse me? I'm on the phone. What were you saying? Yeah, I can get drinks after this. No, I don't need to write anything up after. It's fine. I'll remember it for next time. Okay, see you. Bye.